I would like to say welcome to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. I know many of you are here on a weekly basis, but since this is my first encounter, I would like to extend my sincere appreciation for the members of the media and indeed for what you do for your country and as well as for your profession, more importantly. And as I have clearly spelled out, today's discussion will primarily focus on regional issues. And as I said earlier, Ethiopia's foreign policy has always been centered on advancing its relation with its neighbors. We believe that the well-being and the prosperity and the progress of our countries largely depends on our relation that we have with our neighboring countries. As Ethiopia so evidently is one of the largest country in the region, we don't take that we don't take that lightly. That means that we have an enormous responsibility. I'm not in any way insinuating that being big has an extraordinary responsibility, but that's how it is. So ensuring the destiny and the peace and tranquility of the region is by and large, indeed, with other countries, the responsibility of Ethiopia as well. We take this responsibility seriously. We shall continue building and mending and enhancing relations with our neighboring countries. That indeed is the cornerstone of Ethiopia's foreign policy. I would say that our reputation is by and large built on the tenets of love and respect your neighbor as yourself. The more you love your neighbor, the more respect you'd get. So this is indeed the edifice and the credo of the Ethiopian foreign policy. This outlook is not just founded on the notion that we care and influence each other's conditions, but also manifests the unbreakable bonds of fraternity among our peoples. We are determined to nurture and enhance this historical and traditional ties and continue to work on building or rebuilding the infrastructural links, trade and cultural exchanges. This, as I said earlier, is the bedrock of Ethiopian foreign policy. We thus cannot stand on the side when the peace and harmony of our neighborhood becomes a playground for terrorists and anti-peace elements. Ethiopia's relation with the rest of Africa and the world are equally founded on mutual respect and enhancing bilateral relations. We have reliable and solid friendship with countries across our continent in Africa, and for that purpose, we will continue expanding our representation. Ethiopia is immensely grateful for the solidarity, friendship, mutual respect we built with countries across Africa. We also continue to rely on our traditional partners from Europe, the Americas, and Asia, in addition to the priority we accord to our continent and our continental organization, the African Union. I hope to find, and I have to be clear on this, since we're not going to cover everything today, I hope to find another opportunity for discussion with you on all this relation, including with the United Nations and our BRICS engagement. For today, I would like to seek your indulgence as I intend to focus my remarks on the Horn of Africa. The Horn of Africa has huge potential for mutual growth. It is a natural resource-rich region. We don't know even what we have, but we have been told time and again that it's indeed a very rich region. And when you look at some of the geopolitical, wrangling around our region, you would presume or assume that there indeed is, an abundance of resources in the region. I don't want to go to specifics. When you look at across the coastal line or look at the hinterland, that this region is by and large endowed with rich resources. Its location is strategic. It has World Heritage sites and yet to be explored marvelous touristic and historical location and traditions. It has a young, increasingly educated population. However, its progress and integration are being delayed by conflicts and interference from external forces. Natural disasters linked to climate change have compounded the situation. Amid these challenges, the resilience of communities in resisting divisive forces and natural disaster is admirable. Not only that, we are people of great ambition and aspiration. For example, if you look at Ethiopia, the Green Legacy Initiative, which indeed is a huge milestone. Sometimes when, people say that you don't appreciate it until you lose it. Sometimes, we don't tend to appreciate what we are doing. But the Green Legacy Initiative is indeed a remarkable milestone that would indeed, of course, fulfill our ambition, particularly in overcoming the ensuing climate change. So it could be one of the hallmarks of our ambition and aspiration for development. Programs to ascertain food sovereignty. I'm old enough to witness, many of the difficult moments that we have passed through over the years. 1974, 73, during the emperor periods, as a young student at the university. 1985, 86, a debilitating biblical level famine that ensued Ethiopia. That indeed, in a very painful way, depicts the image of Ethiopia. That might be a generation that indeed strive for our, strengths, perseverance, or a generation that fought for its independence and freedom. But in the meantime, that was very painful history that we passed through. So ascertaining food sovereignty is indeed a hallmark, and that probably might transform Ethiopia in many aspects. The reason why I brought these two important issues is that it's not only that we are being inundated by conflicts, but we have also the capability to turn around events and build our country on a very strong foundation. A case in point, energy self-sufficiency. That took consecutive leaders, their stamina, their perseverance, their resilience to make this country of over 120 million people should be energy self-sufficient, because without energy, you can't think of development. So even though we have problems of our own, but we have made it abundantly clear to the rest of the world that we have the capability, the stamina, and the forethought and insight that we can also rebuild our country. So these are indeed some of the hallmarks that exemplifies our desire and zeal to develop and grow and prosper. So Ethiopia highly values the shared history and tradition with our neighboring countries, communities. The pain of our neighboring countries is indeed the pain of ours. The progress of our Ethiopia is indeed the progress of the rest of our neighbors. So people in this region are, to our assumption, are not held hostage by past hostilities. We cannot afford to do that. Through continued interaction, we have forged inseparable bonds of friendship and a sense of community. It is thus futile to try to create difference between communities across our borders, which some have never failed to do that. Some even have taken a routine work as a business to create differences within our communities across the border. So we should resolve differences peacefully and reclaim lost opportunities for shared growth. At the regional level, Ethiopia, and as I mentioned earlier, chose not to respond in the same manner when it was attacked in recent communication and press conference by certain, I would underline certain, Somali government official, as well as those hostile forces bent on exploiting every sense of opportunity to destabilize the region. Their hostile rhetoric and threats will not discourage Ethiopia from its commitment to peace in this region. It reinforces our conviction that we must redouble our efforts to stop those trying to undo hard-won gains against terrorism, including international terrorism in this region. It is consistent with this conviction that we accepted the facilitation of discussion with the Federal Republic of Somalia, first in Nairobi, and as a continuation of that effort in Ankara. These efforts have made progress and are promising to yield results. These efforts must not be undermined by provocative statements. Collision with forces hostile to peace in this region is also short-sighted and counterproductive. And a few points on the Sudan. Ethiopia has also reached out to the Sudanese brothers to listen to their views and see if there is anything we can do to assist them regain peace and order. We shall be guided by the wish and aspiration of the brotherly people of the Sudan. Only through a process that is owned by the Sudanese parties and the Sudanese people can find sustainable peace. We applaud all actors that have endeavored to assist Sudan restore peace. We shall all continue to listen to the Sudanese parties themselves and consolidate the progress made in different initiatives. We also support our South Sudanese brother in their efforts to implement the revitalized peace agreement and complete the entire process. I would like to emphasize that the future and destiny of this region are in the hands of the countries of the region. We shall continue working with our neighbors bilaterally through the IGAD and as well and assume that we will give any resource for the peace and stability of our region. I thank you very much for your attention. My sincere appreciation.